Arrest him, she wailed, her face twisted in smug victory, while my 78-year-old mother, lost in dementia's fog, sobbed, thinking she was in trouble for a long-forgotten shoplifting mishap from 1962. What would you do if an entitled HOA boss summoned cops on your vulnerable elderly mom just for fishing on family land passed down through generations? That's how it all started, a seemingly ordinary morning that exploded into a nightmare of entitlement and greed. My name is David Harrington, and at 52, life had already kicked me around plenty. Freshly divorced after 25 years. My automotive engineering job vanished overnight, outsourced to some soulless AI that crunched numbers without ever worrying about alimony or college tuition for the kids. The American dream? More like a bad joke. I packed up my beat-up Ford and headed back to my childhood home in Oak Ridge Meadows, a quiet suburb in North Carolina where the pines whispered secrets and the air smelled like fresh-cut grass mixed with lake water. It felt like defeat, admitting I couldn't hack it on my own anymore. But Mom's dementia had progressed to the point where she was putting coffee mugs in the oven and calling me by my late father's name, Robert. Pride? That ship had sailed. Family came first. The house was a time capsule, unchanged since Dad's passing in 2018 from a sudden heart attack in the garage, mid-engine rebuild. The walls still echoed with his laughter. The driveway bore grease stains like battle scars from his endless tinkering. Mom, Margaret, had her ups and downs. On good days, she'd regale me with tales of growing up in Oak Ridge, back when it was just red clay fields and dreams. On the bad ones, she'd wander the halls at night, searching for Dad, convinced he was late from work. Those were the days I'd bundle her up and take her to Oak Ridge Lake, our family's sanctuary. It wasn't some natural wonder, it was man-made, dug out in 1963 by a crew of 40 hardy souls working 18-hour shifts under the blistering sun. My grandfather, Samuel Harrington, was the foreman, his hands forever etched with clay stains, his back permanently hunched from hauling equipment. I kept a faded photo of him knee-deep in mud, hard hat askew, grinning like he'd conquered the world. The original developers weren't faceless corporations. They were local entrepreneurs who valued hard work. In gratitude, they granted lifetime access to the lake for all the workers and their descendants, etched into the property deeds like holy scripture. Your granddad built this with his sweat, Dad used to say, so your kids can splash in it someday. That yellow document was our family's golden ticket, a promise that no one could revoke. Or so we thought. Enter Eleanor Kensington, the villain of this tale, like a storm cloud rolling in from the north. At 68, she'd fled some scandal in a gated community up in Boston, where she'd ruled as HOA president until controversial circumstances forced her out in 2019. Rumors of embezzlement and neighbor harassment that the papers glossed over. She swooped into Oak Ridge with $1.2 million cash for the grandest house on the lake, the old Miller Mansion, complete with marble columns and a view that screamed old money. Her moving vans hadn't even unpacked before she started stirring trouble. Within weeks, she'd wormed her way onto the HOA board, charming the weak-willed with promises of elevated standards. By 6 months, she'd orchestrated a takeover, ousting the old guard in what one board member later called a velvet revolution. Her slogan? Preserving exclusivity and safeguarding investments. Translation: making life hell for anyone without a 6-figure portfolio. It all came to a head one crisp October morning. I was settling Mom into her rickety folding chair by the water's edge, the mist rising like ghosts from the surface. Distant boat engines humming like a lullaby. She was humming an old gospel tune, her eyes clearer than they'd been in weeks. Then came the click-clack of high heels on the wooden dock. Eleanor ***. Materializing in designer yoga pants that probably cost more than my monthly rent, her silver hair helmeted against the humidity, clutching a clipboard like a scepter. "Excuse me," she barked. "This is restricted property. Lake access is for compliant members only." I didn't even look up, focusing on baiting Mom's hook. "Morning, Mrs. Kensington. We've fished here since before color TV. Family rights and all." Her laugh was sharp as shattered glass. "Not anymore. The board passed a new lake enhancement fee, $500 per person, annually. That's $1,000 for you too. Cash or check." I felt my blood boil. That was grocery money, utility bills, essentials we could barely afford. You can shove your fee where the sun don't shine. I snapped, my first big mistake. She didn't blink. Very well. Expect consequences. The next day, dawn broke with pounding on the door. It was her nephew, Chad Kensington, a smug 30-something in khakis, slapping a violation. Notice so hard it chipped the paint. Dad's last paint job, the one he'd done with shaky hands months before his heart quit. By the time I stumbled out in my robe, Chad was peeling away in his luxury SUV. The notice? A masterpiece of legalese terror. Unauthorized resource use. $250 fine, plus $100 daily until paid. It was war. I tore through Dad's old files in the garage, the air thick with dust and memories. Buried in a box labeled Keep Forever was the original 1963 access agreement, and behind it, a bombshell, a certificate showing Samuel owned 5% equity in Oak Ridge Development LLC, the company that built and still technically owned the lake. It included rights to water, minerals, everything. My hands shook. If Grandpa owned part, so did I, through inheritance. This wasn't just access, it was ownership. I made copies at the public library. Eleanor's husband controlled the local print shop. No way I'd go there. The librarian, Mrs. Ellis, whispered encouragement. That woman's tried to censor our books on civil rights. Give her hell, David. That night's HOA meeting was packed, the community center reeking of stale coffee and tension. Eleanor presided like a queen, flanked by her cronies. When I took the mic and waved the documents, declaring our rights and partial ownership, the room hushed. Her face cycled through shock and rage, her eye twitching despite the fillers. Outdated nonsense, she spat. The HOA supersedes all. But cracks showed. One board member, Lisa Moreno, moved to review legally. Eleanor shut it down, but the vote was tense. As chaos erupted over her new gate plan, electronic, keypad locked, blocking even emergencies, the meeting dissolved. Lisa slipped me a list. Displaced families, with a note. She did this in Boston too. Ask what came next. Outside, construction crews rumbled in, installing the gate overnight. By morning, a 10-foot steel barrier gleamed. Cameras watching, sign flashing, authorized only. Neighbors were turned away. Old Mr. Ellis crumpled when denied his daily walk. The fire chief pulled me aside. This is a hazard. Ambulances can't pass. I'll fight it, for your dad's sake. He saved my brother from drowning here in '82. At the courthouse, the clerk, Beatrice, confirmed the bombshell, Oak Ridge Development. LLC was dormant but alive. Lake ownership never transferred to the HOA. You own 5% of that water, Hahn. Demand records. Calls to Lisa's list revealed the pattern. Harassment, fines. Forced sales to or holdings, Eleanor Shell Company. Same in Boston, Delaware, Virginia. Create crisis, profit from it, one victim said. Mom, in a lucid moment, nailed it. She's stealing our legacy. Fees escalated, taped to doors like threats. But now I smiled. We had the deck stacked. The cease and desist arrived certified from Chad's shady firm, accusing me of conspiracy. Mom read it. She's hiding something big. Our lawyer, Janet Lee, dismissed it as bullying, slapped suit. We'll countersue. Keith Moreno, Lisa's tech-savvy grandson, dug digital dirt. Or holdings tied to Eleanor, multi-state scams netting millions. Founding families owned 35% collectively, over 25% for a meeting demand. We met secretly at Lisa's, Pi cent mixing with resolve. More shares surfaced. We hit 40%. Lisa whispered. Fire marshals charging her for endangerment. Private Eye Ray Thompson, repaying a family debt. Dad's testimony saved his daughter. Uncovered the jackpot. Eleanor's sole control of, or, fraudulent 2018 transfer void without shareholder offers. Plus, 60% shares scattered among heirs. 17 wanted in on suing her. FBI was circling. Oak Ridge was her 7th state. Our war room buzzed. Audits showed $247,000 embezzled. Fake invoices looping back to or. We planned. Injunction on gate. Shareholder meeting. AG probe. FBI tip. Eleanor's desperation peaked. Slashed tires. Dead fish threats. Mom targeted calls. Her bribe attempt. $75K to vanish. Recorded, including threats against mom. Fake flyers smeared me. Traced to her printer. Board defector Tom Hayes handed emails proving racketeering. Festival day dawned tense. Eleanor, in pearls, played hostess amid crowds. We struck. Process server hit her. With papers mid-speech. Fraudulent transfer void. I boomed. FBI swarmed. Racketeering, fraud. She ranted confessions, bribery, threats, on camera as cuffs clicked. Bradley tripped fleeing. Muddied in disgrace. Cheers thundered. Gate fell to bolt cutters. Lake reclaimed, community owned. 6 months later, Eleanor's doing 12 years. Restitution flowed, healing scars. Her mansion? Samuel Harrington Center, anti-HOA hub. Mom fishes daily, clearer somehow. I consult nationwide, exposing tyrants. But was our takedown vigilante justice, or necessary? Do HOAs breed corruption? Or protect communities? Could reform work without extremes? Share your HOA horror below. Was Eleanor a monster, or misunderstood? Debate. Right or wrong? Like, subscribe, fight on.